Now at 10, the Joplin City Council meets to discuss a citizen's request to ban a specific product. Plus, the Joplin Regional Airport is getting some improvements. We're going to break it down. And we'll visit a golf charity event to raise awareness of addiction recovery.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin City Council hears a citizen's request to ban alcohol shooter bottles in the city. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Shooters are the miniature bottles often used as samples or promotional items or found in hotel minibars. John Buck brought the proposal. He says banning them would prevent a lot of trash from ending up on the ground.
If you have any problem with it, I think I would take an internal reflection of yourself and see why it make you so angry, because this is for a betterment of all of us.
Buck claims 50,000 shooter bottles were collected in 4 months just in Joplin. The council says they plan to discuss that proposal further. Improvements are coming to the Joplin Regional Airport. The airport's receiving an $860,000 grant to update the airfield lighting control and monitoring system in the control tower. The money comes from a bipartisan infrastructure bill that provides $15 billion to U.S. airports over 5 years for repairs and modernization. Every year, $20 million is set aside for airports with an FAA contract tower, such as Joplin's.
Passengers will probably see no difference. Commercial passengers. Pilots might see a little bit of difference. They might see some more efficient use of some of the equipment that's already out here. But it's basically an infrastructure improvement.
The airport plans to install that new equipment in June. The Joplin Convention and Visitors Bureau is now offering grants to market events and attractions that will happen next year. Patrick Tuttle with the city says every year they have $140,000 that's in the fund to be handed out as grants. Applicants can seek up to $25,000 per event. The hope is to reach potential visitors from outside of Joplin.
The best way to grow is get the word out that they're having this event, and that's what we kind of work with them on that part. We're looking for guests that are from 70 miles away or greater, because that's most likely going to be generating a hotel night.
The city is accepting grant applications until early June. Joplin residents can look forward to a new outdoor recreation area. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announced a more than $1.4 million grant to build the new outdoor space south of Zora Avenue and east of Lone Elm Road. The nearly 100-acre area will include bicycle-related amenities ranging from a BMX-style pump track to a children's bike playground, 5 to 7 miles of single-track mountain bike trail. No word yet on when construction will begin or a completion date. A fundraiser to benefit a local recovery outreach group teed off this afternoon. The Ascent Recovery Charity Golf Tournament was held at Joplin's Twin Hills Golf Course. KOAM's Shagun Babadeli has more.
We don't charge for any of the services that we have at the Rock.
Ascent Recovery supports people recovering from drugs or substance abuse.
And the residents do pay a small fee for their program, but it's not enough to cover like all the expenses that, you know, the expenses that you have in running things, and you have to have salaries, you have to pay people to do all the things that you do. I mean, it's a pretty costly operation to provide all the services that we provide for people.
Brayton Fields is the board president at Ascent. He says the group relies on community support.
The power of community is what I think is so important. So when people come together to support something, even if you're not deep in the trenches, like if you're not volunteering or maybe on the board or even on staff with Ascent Recovery, to just be a part of it, like there is great power when we come together collectively as people.
Ascent provides 2 residential programs, and they rely on fundraisers like this one.
We get a chance to talk to the people about the work and the transformations that take place at Ascent. And we have people here that rent to some of our guys, and you know, and they see these changes taking place in these people as they go into the community and become active citizens in the community.
Reporting in Joplin, Shagun Babadeli, KOAM News.
You can find a link to more about Ascent's programs and fundraising on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Lane for a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much, Dow. It was a beautiful morning and afternoon. In fact, we were only 4 degrees away from the record this morning. Right now we're watching satellite view and water vapor. We're starting to see some moisture moving in from the north and west, and we have a little tiny wave coming across tonight and tomorrow morning, which could cause a few showers, especially up towards our north. Winds have been on the light side today, but the winds are really going to become a factor as we go over the next couple of days ahead of the next big storm system. Over the last 36 hours, we made it into the mid-60s yesterday, and then we dropped all the way down into the 30s this morning. But look at the rise that we had this afternoon, 75. And so that's quite a wild swing in temperature, and that's because of all the dry air that is in place. And as we look down the road, we're going to have a partly cloudy Tuesday, a windy Wednesday, thunderstorms on Thursday, and then a cold weekend with maybe some records being set. I'll have more details on that in just a bit.
Catch you then. A man involved in the shooting death of a Nevada, Missouri woman learns his sentence. Jason Hallam is sentenced to 32 total years in prison. He was charged with second-degree murder, got 25 years for that. His second-degree assault and second-degree burglary charges received 7 years each. Those will run concurrently. The victim was 30-year-old Tara Hallam. The crime happened in 2019. When officers arrived at a home in the 200 block of South Spring Street, they found Jason Hallam and Tara Hallam inside the home. Tara later died at the hospital. Authorities say Jason is a prior and persistent offender. A person fearing for his safety and the safety of others struggled with an armed suspect in Joplin. That incident happened around 1 a.m. on Saturday. Authorities responded to reports of a gunshot in the area of 5th and Joplin Avenue. Police say staff at Club XO denied entry to a man, and then that man allegedly went to a car in the parking lot. A citizen says they followed the man and saw him get an AR-style pistol from the car. The citizen then put the suspect in a neck restraint, and the suspect left the scene. Authorities later arrested 28-year-old Christopher Carter of Joplin, whose felony convictions and is prohibited from possessing a firearm. Carter was released on a $25,000 bond. A teenager is arrested after a burglary report at Vapor Maven on South Range Line Road in Joplin. It happened shortly after midnight Saturday morning. When officers arrived, they noticed the back door was unsecured. Officers found a 17-year-old male inside the building, and they say he refused to follow orders and fled. Officers then chased and arrested the teen without incident. That report says the suspect broke display cases and stole both vapes and cash. Coming up, authorities released more on the victims of this weekend's mass shooting at a Sweet 16 party in Alabama. Plus, charges filed in the shooting of a Kansas City teenager who knocked on the wrong door. A Kansas City teenager is now home from the hospital after he was shot, apparently just for knocking on the wrong door. The family of 16-year-old Ralph Yarl says he was trying to pick up his younger brothers when he mistook one address for another. Police say when Yarl rang the doorbell, a man in the house shot him in the head. Then when he was on the ground, shot him again. Yarl's family hopes for a full recovery, but he is currently struggling with stress. Authorities charged Andrew Lester with first-degree assault and armed criminal action in this case. Prosecuting attorney says there was a, quote, racial component to the case. The probable cause statement does not include a description of what the racial factors specifically were. 4 people are dead, more than 24 injured after a shooting at a Sweet 16 party in Alabama this weekend. Authorities say they have strong leads but have not released any information about possible suspects. Reporter Omar Villafranca is in the small town of Dadeville, where he spoke to the family of one of those killed.
Siblings Phil and Alexis Dowdell are seen here, enjoying Alexis's Sweet 16 at the Mahogany Masterpiece Dance Studio, before a gunman turned the party into a tragedy Saturday night. 18-year-old Phil was one of 4 killed. Alexis says her big brother's final act was to protect her from the gunfire.
You told me your brother grabbed you by the waist and pushed you down.
Mm-hmm.
Did your brother save your life?
Yes. If it wasn't for him, I don't know where I'll be. I don't know if I'll still be standing here today.
After the shooting ended, she found Phil covered in blood and held him as he died.
I was patting him on his face, and I said, stay with me. I said, stay with me, you strong. I said, you strong. I said, you gonna be fine.
The high school senior was set to graduate next month and play football for Jacksonville State in the fall.
I'm broken. My heart is just ripped out.
His mother, LaTanya Allen, was shot twice and is holding out hope that authorities track down those responsible.
I got to be strong. I got to do everything I can do for Phil and my 2 girls.
Another high school senior, 17-year-old Shankivia Smith, was also killed, along with 19-year-old Marcia Collins and 23-year-old Corbin Holston, who reports say did not attend the party but went to check on a younger family member. A CBS News poll found 76% of Americans believe mass shootings are preventable, and 77% of parents of school-age children say gun violence worries them. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Dadeville, Alabama.
Now, Alexis told CBS News there were rumors someone had a gun at her party. That prompted her mother to stop the party, turn the lights on, and tell the audience that whoever had a gun needed to leave. And that's just one of the 162 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year. That's according to Gun Violence Archive. Protesters marched to the National Mall carrying photos of loved ones lost to gun violence and calling on Congress to ban assault weapons. CBS poll shows 81% of liberals think the U.S. would be safer if fewer or no people owned guns. 40% of conservatives think the U.S. would be safer if more people or everyone had guns. A study from the Kaiser Family Foundation finds roughly 1 in 5 Americans have had a shooting death in their family. A little bit later, how road workers are raising awareness about safe driving in a work zone.
And we've had a pretty nice stretch of weather here the last few days. Is it going to continue? I'll let you know when we come back. Well, friends, we had a pretty interesting day across the area. We started out very chilly with near record lows, but this afternoon, all bright sunshine and dry air allowed us to get into the mid-70s for highs, so quite wild swing in temperature. Let's take a look outside right now at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. You can see the planet Venus there, setting in the western sky right now. Allergies have been high too, and they've been a problem for a while. 10.8 today, 11.3 tomorrow. Most of that is ash and alder pollen. Hopefully we can get some rain to get some of that out of the way. Right now we're looking at the almanac of 75 degrees was this afternoon's high. 34 was where we started out, which was only 4 degrees away from the record back in 1953. And unfortunately, we are starting to fall behind again on the rainfall, and that's something you don't want to see in the springtime. Radar is clear right now, just some ground clutter across the area. There were a few showers earlier west of Oklahoma City. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s across the region, 57 in Lamar, 51 already for our friends in Stockton. Meanwhile, it's 66 in Neodesha and 67 in Sedan for some of the warmest readings. Rainfall chances over the next 36 hours are not that great, around 20% tomorrow morning, and that's mainly going to be towards the north. And then they drop off once again, and then on Wednesday morning we might see an isolated shower again in the region. Wednesday afternoon there is going to be a better chance of storms, and that will mainly be in western parts of our area, south central Kansas, some severe weather possible there. It's expected to form into a squall line which will brush the northern sides of our viewing area as we go into early Thursday morning, and maybe redevelopment on Thursday afternoon. Just like what we went through on Saturday, we could be looking for a repeat scenario where we have severe weather developing right along the Missouri-Kansas border and then racing off towards the east. Rainfall amounts are expected to be around an inch in some isolated spots where they most need it, which is southeastern Kansas. So this is a little bit of good news for those folks. Let's take a look at the lows for tonight. Generally in the mid-50s with the best chance of showers up towards the north in Mountain City, Fort Scott, and Nevada with south winds. Then as we head through the afternoon, temperatures are going to respond pretty nicely. Upper 70s on brisky south winds and lower 80s out towards the west, so a little bit of a toasty day there. Then on Wednesday morning, mild conditions with southerly winds continuing with lows in the 60s. And then as we go through Wednesday afternoon, we'll see partly mostly cloudy skies with temperatures in the mid-70s on very strong south winds ahead of the next storm system, which will start to move in on Thursday. And you can see the cold front sweeping through by Thursday morning. If this front slows down even more of our area is going to be under the risk of severe weather on Thursday afternoon. So we'll have to watch that pretty closely. Over the next 7 days, tomorrow 76, great looking day. Wednesday, same thing. Storms on Thursday, some of those could be strong or severe, and then better chance of storms on Friday as well. But look at Saturday, a high of only 51. That would tie the record low max for that date. And then 30 on Sunday morning would break a new record for a record low, and then 59 for Sunday afternoon, and then it starts getting back to more spring-like weather early next week with more chances of storms on Wednesday and Thursday. So
we don't really want it to get that cold this weekend.
Exactly.
Thanks, Sam. This is National Work Zone Awareness Week. The theme for this year's event is Drive Safe, Work Safe, Save Lives. The goal is to remind drivers to be extra cautious when driving through work zones and to remind workers to follow safety procedures to prevent accidents.
This gives us the opportunity to bring attention to provide additional safety and awareness to our work zone crews. By bringing this attention, our hopes are to provide a safer working environment for our crews on the road.
The Federal Highway Administration and the American Traffic Safety Services Association are the lead organizers of National Work Zone Awareness Week. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and Cherokee County, Kansas Sheriff David Groves is reminding parents about the dangers posed by certain phone apps. He's asking parents to check what apps their kids are using that could open them up to dangerous situations. He says if you find apps like that, you should talk to your kids about safely using them.
We put out every year is often disguised as a calculator, so parents need to be aware that there's things that may look innocent on the home screen, but really what it is an ability for their kids to hide videos or pictures that they may not want a parent or somebody else to discover.
Sheriff Groves posted more information on his Facebook page. Still ahead, a former Oklahoma Sooners quarterback is now the highest paid player in NFL history. We're going to have details. And a big CNC softball showdown between the Girard Trojans and Frontenac Raiders. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more coming up.
Well, two of the best softball teams in Southeast Kansas meet tonight in Girard, with the Trojans hosting the Frontenac Raiders. Girard is 8-1 overall to start the season, including 6-0 in the CNC. Frontenac is 2-0 in the league and has won 6 straight games to start the season. The defending state champion Raiders look to stay perfect today in a doubleheader with the Trojans. First inning, Eleanor Reek, good start for Girard in the circle. Gets the strikeout. Game scoreless after 1. Bottom of the second, look at Frontenac's Caitlin Hayslip. Perfect throw to nail the runner trying to steal second. Game still scoreless after 2. So now we move to the fourth. Raiders get on the board first. Hayslip through the left side. Abby Beeman scores to make it 1-0 Frontenac. Moments later, grounder to short. Aaron Anderson gets the tag and the throw to first. Double play for Anderson gets the Trojans out of the inning. Bottom 4. Girard ties it right back up. It's Reek helping her own cause, drops it into left. Anderson scores. That makes it 1-1 on the RBI single. Aaron Anderson really comes up big for Girard in this one. Game was tied at 1 in the 5th. She gets a 3-run bomb, and that was the difference. Girard wins game 1 over Frontenac 4-1, handing the Raiders their first loss of the season. So in game 2, Girard aims for the sweep, but Frontenac rebounds to take that one 5-1. Raiders are now 7-1 overall this season, while Girard is 9-2. High school baseball here. Pittsburgh hosted a doubleheader against St. Thomas Aquinas this afternoon. Purple Dragons down 3-0 in the 5th. Jackson Turnbull up with the bases loaded. That's the guy you want up. Now he hit it hard, but Weston Boyle makes the nice grab out there at short. Saints out of the inning. Then in the 7th, final chance for Pittsburgh. They got the bases loaded again, but Colin Conrad gets the strikeout to end it. Dragons out-hit Aquinas, but fail to score. Aquinas shuts out Pittsburgh in game 1, 3-0. So game 2, Pittsburgh, they're able to score. That's the good news. Bad news, the Saints scored a lot more. Aquinas makes it a sweep, taking game 2, 15-1. The Kansas City Royals open a 3-game series tonight with the Texas Rangers. The Royals in a bit of a slump right now, losing 6 of 7. Tonight, Kansas City gets shut out 4-0. The 4th time they've been shut out this season. The St. Louis Cardinals kick off a 3-game set at home tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cards fall in that one 6-3. Alec Burleson hits a 2-run homer for St. Louis. Eagles quarterback and former Oklahoma Heisman winner Jalen Hurts is now the highest paid player in NFL history. Hurts has signed a 5-year, $255 million extension with the Eagles. That is $51 million per season. It's the highest annual salary in the history of the league. $179 million of the contract is guaranteed. Hurts is just 24 years old and was an MVP candidate last season. He led Philadelphia to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where he diced up Kansas City for 374 yards, 4 touchdowns. His 43 total touchdowns last season is a new franchise record. And I know there are going to be some guys in the NFL, we talked about it earlier, the QB contracts going up and up and up. The next few years are going to be crazy.
Yeah, who knows how long it'll be before that Jalen Hurts record is broken, but I'll bet it won't be very long.
About 6 weeks.
Yeah, probably. We'll be right back. Well, we have some pleasantly warm days before we have some cold days coming
That's
up.
right. We're getting into record territory as we head towards the weekend, but let's enjoy the nice weather while we can. Thursday, some storms return. Some of those could be strong or severe, but look at Saturday. 51 for the high and 30 on the low for Sunday morning, which are records.
Wow. Final sports note.
Former Missouri Southern women's basketball player, All-American Lacey Stokes, going closer to home. She's decided to announce on social media tonight she will transfer to Missouri State, play for the Bears.
So not too far
Nope.
away. Thanks for joining us. Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.